everyone. Okay, so today we are here with a new visual novel. I have Eden with me.
Hi.
And this is our life. Beginnings and always. One thing that I want everyone to notice, um, so this is Cove Holden, the love interest that we are going to be pursuing. And, you might notice his eyebrows are a bit, weird.
They're a bit interesting. They're a bit silly.
Because no one else, and like, I'm completely fucking serious when I say this, no one else in this fucking game has eyebrows like that.
It's just him.
I don't understand it
Maybe
at
his
all, and
mom.
it's like,
Maybe it's his
no.
mom. Maybe it's his mom.
Mm-mm.
No?
No,
Did we get to see his mom?
Yeah. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of school's vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far, outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your moms called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant the familiar, friendly residents waved, or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people since most of the tourists came and went every summer with the same ones. That came and went every summer with the same ones. Jesus fuck, dude.
I need to start another counter.
Yes, please. I think I've done it like 3 or 4 times already.
Right.
You enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. Again, I'm gonna say it, that sounds creepy as fuck.
It is!
It is!
Who just does that?
No one!
Whoa!
He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your mom's had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. You weren't sure about this man yet. Whether he was nice or not, you didn't want to be bothered. You slowed down as you thought about how you could get around this. There was a split second where your eyes met. That wasn't good. He was probably going to say something now that he'd seen you standing around here.
Hey!
You were right. His deep voice called out to you, but you didn't say anything. Unfortunately, the man stood up and started to make his way toward you. Sir, get the fuck away from me.
Get out!
You need to leave! Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms and stared.
So... do you live around here? What's your name?
I don't like the face.
Why?
The face.
Why?
The
expression. Why are you asking that?
Exactly.
Why are you asking
Exactly.
that?
It's a weird question to ask. I know he's just curious, but God, no.
It's a question for an adult to ask a child.
Yeah, like, I mean, Cliff's probably what, like 30s, mid-20s, maybe.
Probably.
So, yeah, no, that. And I mean, asking that to an 8-year-old is sort of
It's not great.
No, but I mean, most people would take that as inherently bad. So, you looked the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he acted. Fuck.
Alright, that's another one added.
The way he the way he was acting, it wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo. You wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. When you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here.
That's great.
He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. Don't smile at me, bitch.
Here it is.
Yep. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him.
Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over.
He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier.
I have a son. His name is Cove. Who's about your age.
You chewed on the inside of your cheek. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. Yeah, no shit. He wasn't the only person like that in Sunset Bird.
We moved in across the street. See?
I don't like the way you're smiling at an 8-year-old, sir.
Sir, get away! Get away from me!
He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone.
You must be Charlie Lark, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him, so...
I don't like the way
well,
he
what's it to you?
I don't like... It makes him look creepier because I just noticed his eyebrow is raised.
Yeah.
And it
He
tips
looks
me
devious.
off. Yeah. He does, and that's...
He looks like he's about to commit crimes, and I don't like that.
I don't either. You shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips. Fuck.
Alright, there we go. That's number 5.
Tilting his lips at the corners.
Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him. But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you.
Well, no shit. You took the bill. You carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched... My brain just crashed. God.
You got this.
From his outstretched hand, grinning at the thought of what you could do with that much cash. Yeah, because $20 to an 8-year-old is, like, insane.
$20 to an 8-year-old is like $1,000 to an adult.
Yeah.
But even then, that's not a lot.
Well, not with how the economy is right now.
Yeah, not with today's world.
No. It cost a few dollars to set up a library card. With this, you could pay for yourself instead of having your moms do it. You enjoyed reading a lot of different books. You can get every one you like to know. And that was just the start, you thought. The sky was the limit with that kind of amount. It's really not, but okay. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did.
Great. That's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but... well, I don't know where he's gotten off to.
He laughed when he said that, but the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. Fucking hell.
If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it.
Yeah, and you also can't miss his fucking eyebrows. He's the only one in this goddamn game who has them. I hate it. I'm not blaming GBPatch for this design choice. I just find it weird that no one else in the game has them.
Yeah, it makes sense if his mom possibly had it.
Like I said in the intro, she doesn't.
Yeah.
So, I forget his mother's name. I'm trying to think of it all day and I can't. Okay. This definitely wasn't a normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, and then pulled his hand away instead. Exactly.
Good,
Don't
good,
fucking put
good.
your hands on me, Cliff.
Your moms are already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wink at me. Please.
Now I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here.
That's literally what the fuck you've been doing, sir.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a moper.
Mm-hmm.
The moperer. I thought he might come back, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Charlie. So much.
Mm-hmm. He jogged off down the street without another word. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Step 1. First sight. The chirping of cricket...
Love at first sight.
Jesus. Good God.
I deeply apologize for that voice that I have just
I
made.
don't know what type of voice that was, but I found it funny. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill, you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. Why would they be squawking so loudly if they were settling down for the night? Weird. You loved to hear the stories about the sea, about the merfolk and sea serpents you imagined living far beneath the waves. Sometimes you could almost convince yourself you had seen a flash of a shiny mermaid's tail in the distance. You took a deep breath. You wanted to relax and couldn't. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. Fuck. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. The deer didn't have
Wavy
eyebrows. But this new boy did. I want to rip him off.
Take a wax strip to him.
Exactly. You weren't sure what else in this world had eyebrows like that, if there was anything. Believe me, my friend, there is nothing. As far as I know.
Yeah.
After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another. Then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. God. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He had been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts. His eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said stuck out to you. That seems like a weird way to word that, but I could just be reading. I don't read correctly. Cove? Eyes wide, he studied you.
How'd you know that?
You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle beneath your fingertips.
I met your father.
This is how I met your father. You bribed me to be your friend.
Oh, Lord.
Good God. I met your dad.
Oh. So, is this your hill?
He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect.
I can leave if it is.
You can't own a hill.
Yeah. Why not?
How could you?
You just do. I had a hill back home.
Well, this still isn't mine.
Oh.
He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered the hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers, too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun.
Why are you here?
Why are you here in Sunset, Bert?
Why are you in my house?
I want waffle fries. God. We're so chronically online.
It's okay. Probably.
Maybe.
Possibly.
A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they never stopped, his tears started up again with a vengeance.
My parents. They don't want to live together with me anymore.
So they got divorced?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes.
My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I want to go home.
The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again.
I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom.
You'll like it here, you just have to get used to it. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. Sunset Bird was a nice place to live. It had a beach, playgrounds, a good school. At least, you thought so. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents.
Charlie! Cove!
Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks.
Don't tell them we're here. I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home.
It'll be okay. You were struck by fuck.
Alright. Let's see, what is that? Oh. Oh, we're already in double digits.
Oh god. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna all be fun, but isn't he your family too?
Yeah, I guess.
Then you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed. Fuck. Jesus.
Right?
It's 11.
Yep.
Good God. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. Reluctant. My brain does not want to work with words today. It never does. His dad's voice rang out again.
Cove, can you hear me?
He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, and then turned away, rubbing his not bandaged arm.
Sorry, I still don't want to go.
Ah, yes, the bandaged arm that's not correct.
Yeah.
You tried to convince him.
Yep.
Are you sure you'd have to stay outside the whole night and sleep on wet grass? Before Cove could say anything else, you heard his dad's voice again, even closer than before.
There you are, bud.
The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. Both your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Charlie, you're here after all.
We had been at the park to check for Cove and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. We're okay.
We're okay, don't worry.
Thank God you're both fine.
Were you two having fun out here? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. Is he trying to break his fucking arm? More
Who
than
knows?
it already is?
You shrugged.
He's new here. It was okay. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood.
Well, no shit, you just moved here.
Good thing Charlie knows this whole area so well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove. Bye.
The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading toward the new. God, fucking damn it! The two of them walked off I need a drink. I need a drink.
So that's 13.
The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading toward the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper playdate tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie.
How does that sound?
So you know that he wanted to come see both of us, yet you let Lizzie go to the park. That's weird. Sure, can I show him my stuff?
Of course.
Then okay. Both your moms laughed, the sounds overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mama put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove in this step. It can change in later steps. We were relaxed and indifferent. We've done this so many times.
I know. Third time's the charm, chat. Third time's the charm.
Early the next morning, you were poking at your food, eating it slowly. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to play, but you stayed put. See, exactly. Why? Why they let her go? Our parents are confusing. Today, just like your mom had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Again, psychotic smile. I don't like it. She looks like she's gonna kill us in her sleep. And then we have Mama who's given bedroom eyes.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus Christ. Excited to see your new friend again, Charlie? Maybe we can become friends.
Maybe.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. Good job. He should be here soon. Why is it just me, or does it look weirder when the eyes are closed?
No, you're right. It does look weird.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause Mama's blinking. She's just... I don't know. That's weird to me. Cleanup began, and then on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure if they were in the right place. Still loud, though.
We need to get a more obvious doorbell.
I know. Charlie, could you get it? Fuck. Because Mom had said so, you wandered over to the door. How many is that now?
15.
Jesus.
Hey, Lark family. Thanks for having us.
And last time's count was 46, I believe?
Was it really that high?
I think so. Yeah, 46.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you for promoting me again.
You're welcome.
I need to start doing that. I need to start doing that myself. But I continue to forget.
It's okay. I used to do it with Cece a lot too in their YouTube Discord.
Mhm.
Whenever they'd stream, I would be the one posting the stream link, so that way people could actually see. and be like, whoa,
I need to get
Crow is
myself
streaming.
I need to get myself a server.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove was the... Fuck. Cove looked different at the bright light.
Alright, that's 2 more, so that's 17.
Jesus. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. There we go. Jesus. His dad standing... I'm gonna bash my head into a fucking wall. I swear to God.
No, you're not.
With
We're
his
not
dad...
gonna do that today.
With his dad standing in front of him, and mom and mama standing by...
Right.
God damn it. Fucking hell. With his dad standing in front of him and mom and mama behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. You studied Cove apathetically. This was the parents' plan, not yours. Not seeming any more excited than you were, he just stared back.
Okay.
You twisted the threaded bracelet on your wrist. Do you want to go play in your room, Charlie? Sure. Come on, it's upstairs.
Okay.
With what we see of this area, where the fuck else would the room be?
I mean, you never know. There might be rooms behind what we're seeing.
True.
Because this is only the living room / dining room / kitchen area.
Mm-hmm. There could be, because it looks like there could potentially either be a hallway over here or behind us.
Yeah.
Considering the door is more than likely in front of the living room, I feel like there's more behind this island.
Yeah. Let us know if you need anything, you two.
Have fun, kids.
See you later, son. Play nice.
Why the fuck are you winking? You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. Treasures. Why? Okay, I have a problem with words that end in S for some fucking reason.
Could be. Well, I'm not sure.
I don't know either. I've had it all my life and it's weird. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall.
I like this.
I drew that.
Cool.
You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he had noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You wanted to say something, but didn't know what, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things you'd collected, tucked away by your door. You took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead.
What's that?
A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
You have any driftwood in there?
Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. Yeah, I think so. God. I think so. Yeah, see? You gestured to the piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat. This is a good collection.
You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or be like Shiloh. He actually meant it. Oh, right, I almost forgot. Shiloh's gonna be here today.
Shiloh?
Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess.
Do I have to see him?
It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but, you know. Come on, check out my shell some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that I'd washed ashore, and you pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd learned some of their scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells and sea life. You had learned a lot by flipping through its pages. Apparently fascinated, either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like full force of his attention. This was a new It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus, even if it was only directed at the shells.
Kids, come down to the living room.
You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mama wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other on accident, not that a parent had made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was let me start over there.
Yep.
Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway.
I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them.
Okay, but be careful.
I will.
You weren't sure if you could trust someone else with your treasures yet, so you stayed next to him while he opened the lid and peered inside. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell.
Oh.
Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining.
I think this one is the best of them. Conch shell!
That's my favorite too. Cove smiled that you knew both admired the shell together. It was a giant conch with shades of dark and light orange. If you held it up to your ear, you could practically hear the ocean. I found that one last summer when we went to the beach on a picnic. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that.
Lizzie's friend?
You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away.
This isn't a good idea.
You'll be alright. He's here. We can't tell him to leave. I mean, we could, but we're not gonna do that. He's at our only door. If you go upstairs, he'll find you. That sounds ominous.
I know, right?
Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked on the back of the house.
I can go out the window.
Those windows don't look like they open. Because there's no latch.
They probably do somewhere, considering, it is a beach home, so it's very likely that they do latch open.
Probably, somewhere. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something you stepped forward, then paused.
Shiloh's the least scary person alive.
Every single bunny rabbit is scarier than Shiloh.
But I don't want to see him. I don't know him.
You encouraged him. Hey, if you do have a hard time with him, I'll tell him to leave. Is that okay?
Okay.
Shiloh poked his head in the living room. It was impossible to know for sure if he'd heard what you'd been saying or not, but you guessed that he had. Hi, Charlie. And hi, Cove? Cove shot you an uneasy glance.
Hi.
I'm Shiloh. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. You have a lot of freckles.
And you have wavy eyebrows. What about it?
What about it, mother effer?
Right, I do. What are you guys doing?
We're looking at shells.
Awesome, can I do it too? Cove shrugged and looked back at your box of beach findings.
What about that one?
The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else. Hey, check out this scallop shell I found. Cool, right?
Pretty color. Kinda like my cast.
The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Why did I say hand?
And the eyes.
Uh-huh.
Don't forget the eyes.
Our eyes are like
Bright
the exact
pink
same fucking
eyes.
color. Pink's a nice color.
Okay.
just okay.
Okay.
Is it your
Nothing
favorite?
more.
Yeah. Is it your favorite?
Not really.
What is?
Maybe green. Or blue. It might be yellow.
He's indecisive. Oh, those are all cool.
I guess. He's not indecisive. He just doesn't want Shiloh to know anything about him.
True. Not sure how to deal with a suddenly more awkward silence, you looked back at your shells. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't much like you, either. Is Lizzie coming back?
Don't know.
Aw. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach. Probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park and he looked towards you.
There's a park?
Yep, but it's old.
Can you show me? I want to go.
He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right? Really? You do too, right, Charlie? The park's fun. You just want to go see Lizzie. The park is pretty great. Yeah, and it's right next to the beach. There's lots of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. It gets everywhere. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings.
That sounds like it could be cool.
So, are we going to find Lizzie?
I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to go check the park out.
Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide.
Alright, here we go, chat. Time to be an annoying little bitch. Charlie! Shiloh!
Hi. She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just three of you, but now Cove was here. You weren't sure if if this was an improvement. Oh God.
Alright, chat, I gotta lock in. Who's that?
It's Cove. He's new.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together.
She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Damn it.
That's another one added.
Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispered in your ear, quiet enough that the others wouldn't overhear.
I thought kids couldn't own places like parks. Or hills.
You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. When Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand.
Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are? Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job?
Lizzie is the oldest.
By a lot. My mom said you're Charlie's age.
She looks like a brat. Just look at her expression on her face. Good God.
Yeah. Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. What about other kids?
Other kids?
There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place.
I think that's actually proven wrong in another chapter, but it could just be someone visiting. I forget.
Damn. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. Oh.
For a second, it looked like he might cry again, but something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie.
What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything.
Only some of
Yeah.
them don't like kids. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wasn't taking things too far. Cove sniffled? Okay. Sniffled.
Yes, sniffled.
Oh, wait, that is what it says. Sniffled. That is a weird word to me, for some reason. His forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. This kid is just oblivious to everything around him.
He just like me for real.
I met Lizzie and Charlie in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over.
I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end.
Shiloh looked down at the dirt. He hadn't... What? My brain... He hadn't done much... Fuck. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversation with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot, too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely. You didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it.
Jesus.
Ugh.
Is right. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way the sun and lunch and the beach were. That first summer, you hadn't really been interested in him one way or another. He was just kind of a fact of life, someone you met with because he was there. Of course, that was only the start of things.
Alright, so.
Do we have enough time to do one?
Yes.
Okay. We did
'cause I can
Sandcastle
actually-
first.
We did Sandcastle, Fireflies, shopping. We can probably do one more,
Mm-hmm.
if not all of them, because I can actually go longer because I'm not meeting with my friend anymore.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm fine with this.
Hey!
I need to, like, get the DLC, eventually, and then we can come back here and do these.
Yes. I'm interested in Ghost.
Mm-hmm. The other DLCs are very interesting, and if I'm able to get all of the downloadable content, there's 2 other characters that we meet later on
Ooh.
who we can also romance.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. And there is a wedding DLC with Cove. I really want to get that because I feel like that would be
What?
fun to have, especially
That would.
since in this route we're going after him.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Sandcastle.
Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When you, him, and Shiloh sat. Fuck.
All right. Let's see. That was 2 more. So okay.
How many is that now?
27.
Oh my god. I
It's
swear,
doubled.
if it's more than 46, I'm gonna cry.
If it's more than 46.
I'm gonna cry.
If it's more than 46, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Jesus. When you, him, and God damn it!
Alright. 28.
Oh God. When you, him, and Shiloh sat out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The waves washed a single shore. a single shore to shell. Hot.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. It's like the fucking, the kitchen to the door. I still need to get a clip of that and just put it on my channel.
Hell yeah.
The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering in blue, another reminder of the places he couldn't go. From what you had heard about Cove's old life so far in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Like make a pact with a witch or something, just to get it off his arm. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here, with you, Shiloh, and Lizzie. With you and Shiloh and Lizzie. There should be a comma there, but okay. And everyone else. And he couldn't even go in the sea. The town wasn't bad, it had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. This is what happens when I have a fucked up sleep schedule, and I sleep in, and I suddenly just fucking wake up at 3 in the morning.
Oh, Lord.
Or 4. It just depends. Which is weird, because, I'll take naps. Like, normally. Because I'm just very fucking tired all the damn time. I don't know why. But
Hey. I hate to break it to you. That is actually signs of an iron deficiency.
Oh God. Fuck, I might be deficient. That and the shaking.
Do you enjoy eating ice?
I used to. I don't do it too much anymore.
Okay. Hey,
although
chat.
I know that is definitely a sign, because I've looked into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Chat, your streamer might be iron deficient. Might need to get that checked.
Might need to get that checked. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I need water.
Hell yeah, drink that water.
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know.
Holy shit. Oh my God, I fucking teared up because of that. Holy shit, dude. Fucking hell.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus.
I love being an absolute menace to my friends.
Uh-huh.
Grins at you.
Okay. Did you already say your line?
Nope.
Okay.
I wish I could go in.
The water?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon. Cove only sighed in response. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough.
Real.
It's so pretty, the ocean.
Mm-hmm. And huge. There could be anything out there. Like mermaids.
Yeah.
Swimming might be fun if we could.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. But it's not like there's anything we can do about it. Maybe if I don't think it's ever explained how he, or like why he has a cast.
Well,
sort of
broke
just
his arm somehow.
Well, yeah.
So
But I want to know how.
Maybe he broke it on a playground or something.
Maybe. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back to the water. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye.
Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening.
Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before.
It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away.
Well, how do you do it then?
Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him. I'll play too. I love making sand stuff. It would make sense because we've grown up around the beach as well, so. Okay. He put his hands back in the sheet. Okay. God damn. He put his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh focused more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared. That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine's gonna be a real castle.
You can tell Shiloh's trying to, make a good impression.
I know, and I feel so bad for the boy.
Yeah.
He's just a boy. He's just a wee little lad.
He's trying, but,
He's trying his best.
Yeah. It's hard with Lizzie not around, obviously. That's apparent enough.
Not only that, Cove is just kind of an asshole as a child, by the looks of things.
Yeah. Cool, this is gonna be a
Get
house.
some character improvement.
We do.
Okay,
Although, there is a weird thing that he does, but we'll see that later. I'm not gonna say anything about it. It's not bad, but it's definitely sort of fucking weird.
Okay, so it's not inherently bad.
Mm-mm. No,
It's
not at all. It's just weird. So I don't.
Just being quirky.
The way he does what he does reminds me of fucking Styles from Teen Wolf.
I don't know what that is, so.
It was a show on MTV in 2011. It's very good. Then again, I'm biased.
See, I was a youngin' in those days.
I forget I'm older than almost everyone in the Soul Life group, I think.
Yeah, you pretty much are. I think you might be one of the. No, because I think Pink. You and Pink.
Yeah.
I think you are both the oldest.
Probably. Looking back at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make. We did a mansion.
Yeah.
Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to Why? You decided to design a mansion.
That's another one. How many is that? Great.
How many?
We might just surpass 46.
Oh god. How many is it?
31.
Jesus fucking Christ. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. It's mainly because, with me having ADHD diagnosed, there's this thing that often comes hand in hand with autism and ADHD, both ways. It's called audio processing disorder. That's why some people, when they ask someone a question, have to pause, process it, and then if they ask the question again, they'll cut them off in the middle.
Yeah, I've done that.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that I have it. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up at what you had built. It seems you'd gotten It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of the shells, but there were other still options. The first thing you reached for was a green piece of sea glass. It was the best fit for your mansion, you decided. It was see-through and sparkly, so you put it in a funny place where it would take a second look to see it. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. You checked out Cove's sandcastle. The castle that Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. The silence was then broken.
What's on top of yours, Shiloh?
You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
It's good. That's smart.
Now we're getting some improvement. You're not as much of an asshole right now. I say right now. Kinda looks more like a worm. Yes, a silver worm. A slimy worm. Sticking his tongue out in disgust, Cove's face soured.
Gross.
Shiloh frowned without a word. And that was that for the current topic.
Charlie, can I see what you did?
Sure. He began surveying your work. All you really knew about mansions was that they were supposed to be big, so you'd gone really big. It was the size of the country club that Lizzie played golf at compared to Cove and Shiloh's buildings, probably even bigger. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation. Hey, Charlie, what did you do? This is my mansion. It looks great. Your house is so big.
So,
I guess mansions are just really big houses. Huh? Is being a house bad?
no, but we each made our own place. Nobody is the same.
I think we are. Cove raised an eyebrow at that.
If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special.
Why did I sort of go country when I said that? Please, no.
Gotta bring out that southern accent.
Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff.
People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual.
I don't think I'm very special.
Why not? Nobody else is you.
Shiloh simply shook his head. I'm not different. A beat passed between the two. Coven looked down at his own work again.
Okay.
He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind.
My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to.
Cove trailed off again. Cove trailed off. Again, there was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he'd noticed that Shiloh was going to talk.
Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Charlie?
You waited to see if Shiloh would say what he wanted to. When he didn't, you considered Cove's question. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. That sounds so fucking bad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. Yeah, especially with what the fuck his eyebrows are. I'm not gonna let it go, ever.
Not only that, the teal hair. Like, is that natural?
Yes, It is.
It's natural.
I
Who the
think
fuck has
so.
scaled hair?
I don't know. Well, no, I do know.
Anime type shit.
You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh, well, I was there.
You weren't really. Well, I mean, you were, but okay. I don't think my mom has met your dad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Charlie's parents and my dad met the same day I met them. I'm gonna say what happened.
Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could tell you could still tell he was upset about
Right. Well, that is like, what, 3 or 4 at the same time? So
Yep.
now we're up to 39.
Jesus Christ. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want to say is important too. He stayed silent and let Cove finish his story. Shiloh could talk about stuff after Cove had a chance to share what he planned on. Please kill me. God.
When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us. Only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside.
Yeah, we're very cautious, cause chat, this is our 3rd time doing this.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks. This should hopefully be the last time that we have to do this.
3rd time's the charm or something like that.
Yep.
I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that.
His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that.
Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand and then went over to the front of your house, where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills, the ones where we met for the first time.
Cove nodded and stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more. Aren't you going to finish your story? Cove's brow wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
That's all that happened.
Okay.
What is it?
What?
You said that in a weird way.
I don't think I did. Cove narrowed his eyes at you, suspicious. Shiloh's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why'd you bring that up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders.
I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle. It made me remember when I moved to here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason.
Because your dad's obsessed with a fucking beach. I mean, your name is a prime example of that. Cove's brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hands to the sand. I hate that I stutter. I get it. You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even when Cove was done with it, some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh fidgeted uncomfortably in the sand. Had made Cove aware of his presence again. I feel like there should be a that somewhere in that.
No, you're reading it wrong. So,
Am I?
it's basically saying, like, the fact that Shiloh was fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand had made Cove aware of
Mm.
his presence again.
Okay.
That's why it's fidgeting, not fidgeted.
Ah. They looked at each other, and you can only wonder what this might be about. Oh, God. This again.
Hey, Shiloh,
Yeah?
why are you always turning so red, even when nothing's happening?
Why do you have that look on your face, you fucking brat?
Crazy.
Jesus. Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you nor Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again. I don't know, I guess.
Sorry, I'm munching, crunching.
No, you're good.
Okay, it's kind of weird.
And your eyebrows are weird. Don't be an ass.
Your face is weird.
It is. Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Yeah, that's correct. Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal to Shiloh. A huge deal. He didn't look he just fuck. He didn't just look sad. He seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away, or what, but you soon got an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most fuck. Good God. Oh yes, most Cove don't wear glasses. Jesus. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody is named Cove. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad bugging Charlie's family some more, because you don't have anyone else who ever play with you. Cove blinked. The tension on the
Sorry about
beach
that,
was
dog.
suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to laugh off. It's good. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. I'm sorry.
Me too. I was just wondering.
You nervously messed with the sand. Jesus Christ. You picked up some sand and turned it over in your hands. There didn't seem to be much you could do to stop the fight, and you weren't sure what to do with yourself. Cove looked over at what you were doing and started building his own set of walls. Shiloh took a breath before kneeling back down to his own patch of sand. It seemed like they both decided to try playing again. You were glad for that. You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. Again, they're both oblivious. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. Cove and Shiloh had mostly followed your lead and barely said a word. His mom standing behind him, even Shiloh's goodbye had been quiet. Friendly, cheerful, but noticeably quiet. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. The two of you trailed out of the park together toward the neighborhood. The walk home was quiet. You passed the nearby landmark. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. You asked Cove what he's thinking. Something was definitely up, so you chose to reach out to him and ask, "Hey Cove, is everything okay? You're making a funny face."
Oh, I was just wondering.
That transitioned a bit weird. Like it glitched or something.
Hmm.
Cove fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed.
Why'd Shiloh act like that when I said he was all red a lot?
You shrugged at Cove with no answer to give. There wasn't really much you had to say about Shiloh. He was Lizzie's friend.
I guess I can get it. why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Anger issue.
Yep. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour.
What Shiloh said didn't make sense, anyway. Parents always talk to other parents and set up stuff so their kids play together. My dad didn't do anything weird. It might seem crazy
Oh.
what I'm about to say. Boom, boom. I accidentally muted. That's great.
You struggled not to make a face at that. His dad definitely did something weird. His dad definitely did something weird to try and get you to spend time with Cove. But Cove didn't know that, and he doesn't need to know that.
Exactly.
Your dad does do stuff so you'll hang out with my family, but Shiloh shouldn't have said that. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I knew the whole time Shiloh shouldn't have been saying things like that.
You nodded, but you didn't speak. You kept your eyes firmly on the ground. By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your house as it was time to part ways. Bye, Cove. Your parents hadn't planned anything else for you, though you knew you'd see him eventually. Cove nodded, already turning away.
Bye, Charlie.
You made your way to your house at a leisurely place. Fuck.
Place? Sure.
At a leisurely place. Oh yes, we walk at a leisurely place. Fucking hell. You made your way to your door at a leisurely pace, going up the driveway to get to the front door. Before you went inside, you looked back. Cove was halfway to his house, his hands shoved in his pockets. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You might change your mind sometime, but there's always tomorrow after all. But for now, it was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. And then fireflies. If we could, potentially, we might be able to actually get through this, and then it will move us on over to step 2, I think.
Yay!
I want to try and stream as...
Your eyes. You would not believe your eyes. You would not believe your eyes.
If we can, I want to go as far as we can. If possible. Because if this turns into a 4-hour stream, I genuinely do not mind that.
That's gonna be a lot to edit.
Yeah. But it's fine.
Lock in! Okay. Brat time. Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies.
At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance to the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh, you are you? You started eating faster. A grin curved your lips as you started to eat a bit faster, excited for what was to come. It seemed like you were too excited, however, as you started to choke and cough on your food from shoveling it down so quickly. Mama reached over to pat you on the back, firmly helping to dislodge the noodles and enables you to breathe again. You took a big gulp of water from your glass, giving your mom's a sheepish look. God. It's that S thing again. Oops. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Lark? Mrs. My brain. Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally, she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why, probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd decide. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day.
Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back.
Yes!
Along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full. Fine. Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are.
Jesus, the way she is such a brat, and the way that you voice her perfectly is making me hate her. The idea
I'm
that...
glad my voice acting can make you feel a certain way.
It does.
It means I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. The idea had only just been planted in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spreading out in front of you like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mama read sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first.
No choking at the dinner table now.
Ma'am, I already did. That's right, if someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Okay, you're looking away, and the way that you're smiling makes you seem like you want someone to die. Ma'am!
She's gonna murder us.
She's gonna murder us in her sleep. Mom said it like a joke, but I don't think she was joking. You need to look at her face, Charlie. Your mother's a psycho. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth.
No one is gonna die. Sheesh.
What is that background noise? There's like a buzzing.
There's either the helicopter currently flying over my house,
Oh.
or the fact that No, I do have noise suppression on. Yeah, it's
Huh.
probably the helicopter.
Damn. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could, no doubt, scold your sister.
I'll get it.
Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was. Lizzie.
Isn't that a little dangerous?
There could have been a murderer, and you would have probably been stabbed. You don't think.
She's an 11-year-old child, probably.
Yeah.
11 or 10, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Guess who it freaking is? That's right, our boy Cove. Good evening, Cove.
Your mama had already walked over to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat. Not floppy, good God. Cove? You had no idea why he was here all of a sudden, but you supposed it wasn't worth worrying over. Instead, your eyes landed on Lizzie, who was looking at Cove like he had come here specifically to ruin all her plans. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mama with a face almost like he was considering running. Like he was considering turning around and leaving.
My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you.
Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket, eyes now dropped to the floor.
We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks. Bye!
Jesus.
Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit?
Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged, and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here all right. Cove shuffled fully inside, his adding extra words again. Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mama closed the door behind him. Hi, Cove. Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch fireflies with us? You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'd get over it. If Cove said no, you'd understand, though. Catching fireflies wasn't something that everyone liked to do.
I want to see them. I've never caught one before.
It's too bad he didn't have the chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been any where he used to live.
We can't go until after dinner.
After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her plate. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal.
Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier.
What did you have?
Eggs.
The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Our phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back into the room. Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like, but he's going to come get you before it gets too much later.
Sure. Oh, fun. This will be so nice.
As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished
You got this.
The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far.
It's fine, Mom.
Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie, he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Coming? After a moment, he did.
Bye, children.
The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get farther and farther away.
You're so slow, Charlie. We don't have all night.
You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. You tugged him along. Let's go. You gave his arm a pull, but immediately recoiled when he hissed. In your hurry, you had accidentally grabbed his cast arm. You hadn't thought about that. Sorry.
It's fine. Just go by yourself.
You couldn't help but feel bad as he rubbed his arm and refused to look at you. But since it didn't seem like he wanted you there, you did what he said and hurried to the hill. There were already a lot of fireflies out, glowing, bobbing around like buoys on a wave. Lizzie was standing on top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Where's Cove?
You looked behind you, wondering if you'd upset him enough to send him home. But a second later, he rounded the corner, looking around at all the fireflies with interest.
Wow.
Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are?
Yeah.
A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea-green head.
You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle.
Covering your mouth with a hand, the sound escaped you, and Cove looked at you in confusion.
What?
You gestured to his head as he reached up to make the flyer. You gestured to his head, and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped, then followed after the glow. Oh look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on.
You're good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't too worried about that.
Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clasp his hands around the firefly.
Ugh.
Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face.
I think we encouraged him to try again.
Mm-hmm. You get the next one. Cove didn't say anything, and you thought he must be upset. He walked further up the hill to continue his hunt, and you let your own firefly flitter back into the air. This was fine. You had your own plans.
Collect more, I think.
You decided to collect more. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally on how many you caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt.
Charlie, Cove, get up here. We're gonna have a race.
The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them standing on top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning you with quick hand gestures. Good God. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might just be intrigued by the idea of a race. Hi.
Hi. Cove, you can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us.
As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, this was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. This was the second time it had gotten in the way tonight.
What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it? I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. I'll stay with Cove.
Really? Why? You don't have to.
It's okay. I want to watch. You moved beside him on the top of the hill, even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face.
That's not how races work. We only need one referee.
Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air.
Fine. I'll be the winner whether you join or not.
Lizzie moved to lay down and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood next to him.
Countdown!
Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously.
3, 2, 1, go!
Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speeds towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. Fuck. They were both neck and neck until about halfway down the hill, Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands in the air. I won! Almost immediately, he fell back down into the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped at the bushes she had ended up in, sputtering angrily, brushing leaves from the front of her dress.
Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real.
Kids, it's time to come in.
No!
You snickered, feeling grateful that you hadn't been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eye and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did.
Yay!
I really hope we can finish this.
Hopefully. Alright, shopping, and then long day, and then grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport?
The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. That's not how that works, but okay.
I think it would be sad.
Yeah. I mean, it is sad. He had to bribe us to be friends with his son.
That's true. That is true.
He's a sad man. A very sad man.
He is a sad, pathetic wet cat of a man.
A wet cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you prefer wet dog?
No. They smell... I don't think I've ever smelled a wet cat. Because I know wet dog has a smell. But does wet cat have a smell? That's a question. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. I don't want to go near you. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You gotta learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two.
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Charlie?
Don't fucking wink at me, you... Sir! I'm 8!
Stop touching me!
Taking a walk. I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. Mr. Holden grinned at you kindly. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle.
Sounds fun. You know, Cove is about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him?
You shrugged. Cove was in the process of making a similar motion. You didn't have anything else to do, and you hadn't been to the stores in a few days. Maybe there was something new to look at. Maybe. Is that okay?
I was going by myself, but I guess it is. You don't have to. Great. I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun.
Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs.
Here.
He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper.
Get something for your friend, too. Sure. That's my boy.
Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he straightened back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy.
Take care.
Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. He followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. What is it?
Nothing.
He kept staring down at the ground, though. You bit down on your lip a little, wanting to say something else, but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times. And although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. What do you want to go to the shops for?
I need a new sand pail.
Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
It disappeared.
What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen?
Well...
Cove opened his mouth then shut it again, considering.
I took it to the beach one day.
Uh-huh.
When I got home, it wasn't anywhere.
You left it there?
Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back.
Then you lost it.
It disappeared. What about you? What do you do out here?
I like swimming. Cove's lips curled up in my brain. Cove's lips curled up into a small smile.
Okay, we may very well get to 100 the rate
God.
that you're going at.
Jesus.
Me too.
It occurred to you that you hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again in so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the clatter of people... Okay. But the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. I was about to say hot dogs there, that's not correct.
It was nice.
The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, and you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing around from one side of the street to the other, with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out.
What's that?
Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd, there was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we could stay and watch? Cove glanced back at the man, he then briefly lifted his arms up from his sides before returning them to place. You grinned, waiting for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. I need to look at the configuration, because...
Oh?
Okay, no, we can't. What? No. Does that make the text... That... Hold on. Does that make it bigger? Yes. Okay, that helps. I needed to make it bigger.
No, you're good.
You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to the stand in the crowd. With that it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa. He's not amused or impressed.
He's not.
At all.
He really isn't.
The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Tell me. This had to be going somewhere, and you needed to find out. You smelled like popcorn and candy when you stepped closer. It was great. You felt a tug, and he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew it couldn't have really come from your ear, but you still didn't know how he had done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump and tied them... The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend, too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card.
My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with cards.
Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. He wondered if Cove's whole family was magic. They might as well be. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display.
I got you this kaleidoscope at the airport today. What? A kaleidoscope?
Kaleidoscope? I'm not a child. Shapes and colors.
What? A kaleidoscope? I'm not 5. Shapes and colors of which I've never seen the likes of before.
What is it from, actually?
I think that might be from, oh gosh, what's that one show with the horse guy?
BoJack Horseman. It is.
Yes.
It is from that. I literally watched that episode. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That is a damn good show. Ooh, these are cool. You shifted your You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning into all different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked up one and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Are you having fun? Cove didn't answer straight away, and after a few more moments, you thought he wasn't going to say anything at all.
A little.
I need a drink again. When Cove moved towards some stalls nearby, you followed beside him. Whenever I look at those crabs, all that I can think about is crab riff. While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains? What the fuck? You were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read "Handmade" standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, a turtle. You picked up the dolphin. Your hand stopped on the dolphin, so familiar to your balloon animal. It was made of a bright material that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered once seeing a pod of dolphins swimming out in the distance at the beach, jumping out of the water and splashing as they dived back in again. That was a great day. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price, though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad. You still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave to you hidden away in your room. That was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you could have asked your moms to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted.
Is that what you want?
Huh? Oh. It's $6. I didn't bring any money.
It's fine.
Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself, too.
My dad told me to.
You smiled, pleased to have things work out. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you, too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove?
Yeah?
I really like this keychain. Thank you. Cove shrugged, looking at the sea creature with impassive eyes. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch.
Let's get some food.
Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. I don't know where the hell I'm getting before from. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamon, and you? We just got one with plain cheese. You licked your lips. You licked your lips. What the fuck am I saying?
Yes. I licked my licks.
Good God. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It was covered in gooey melted cheese, just the way you liked it. It seemed odd to get a dessert pretzel before eating normal food. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. Why would you want a terrible noise like that?
Well, I mean, if it's far away from people.
True.
These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat.
Cove placed his bucket on the table and as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the dolphin balloon out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist.
Oh.
Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Can you do it for me? He repeated the ritual. What are we, a type of cult? Jesus. I wouldn't call it a ritual, but okay. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast, restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. Oh, no. No.
Oh.
It was hovering over quit. I did not realize that. I was like, what the fuck happened?
Got it.
The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to look like it was swimming through the air. Jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather. He is the prince of the dolphins. He wears a crown made of seaweed and all his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let him ride on his back. You sighed, wishing you could read a real dolphin like Merryweather. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation.
It's...
With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock, like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. You offered to give Cove your balloon. You can have my balloon instead, if you want it. Cove looked over at you, frowning.
I don't want yours.
Oh. You felt bad for Cove, but we're secretly glad. You really liked Little Dolphin and weren't too eager to give it up. Cove spent the rest of the outing sniffling and didn't say much else. The passing of Cove's balloon was a major event in your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been nice for the most part. Hopefully there wouldn't be any tears next time. There probably will be.
Alright, chat. You ready for the long day?
It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner you had finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so the afternoon... God. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked at you for all the answers. It made you feel...
frustrated.
He was always wanting to hear what you thought instead of giving his own opinion, and expected you to come up with all the plans. It was hard work, especially for such a hot day. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet. Something like...
A popsicle. I'm personally a popsicle.
You wanted something fruity and brightly colored. There was nothing like that to be found at home, and you knew that without needing There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained. But they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products.
I would sigh.
Yeah. As much as you really wanted that tree, it wasn't going to happen. What's wrong? I want a popsicle. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. That sounds good. We don't have any here, and I don't have any money. Yes, you do. Oh, let me check if I have any. Yeah. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins, plus one striped button. Probably from his outfit somewhere. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly.
It's not enough.
I'm sorry. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down in deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust or sandy crumbs, but every so often you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wandered to the $20 bit. There we go. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. It was too special to hand over so freely. Yeah, I saw that. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret, and it needed to stay a secret. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pooling your funds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.52 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah. You could now afford something at the shops, just one thing, but that was definitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay!
Dude, getting popsicles for under $5 is crazy.
That's fucking insane, actually. The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you onto your destination, where breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew you knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting a popsicle? Shiloh asked, as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. You tried to get something you both wanted anyway. It wasn't fair to you to be the only one to decide when he'd been the main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. You pressed further. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite? It's so hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward of all your hard work was in your hands. You sucked on the fruity popsicle you'd bought. The icy treat cooled you down perfectly and the zesty flavor was refreshing. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. You can finish it. He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. There was no point in arguing. It was already melting under the rays of the sweltering summer sun. You eagerly tucked back in, the cold, sugary treat quenched you in ways that the water just couldn't reach. The two of you began to head back home as you ate. You were glad, too, to get the treat all to yourself. Only half wouldn't have been as good. I outread wouldn't as woman. Help? Yes, only half woman have been nearly as good.
Woman.
Oh, God. Even so, you couldn't help but wonder what Shiloh was thinking. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt, or was afraid to.
People pleaser.
Yep. You thought that was kind of sad. Not being able to talk to people isn't fun, and you didn't want to be the kind of person people were scared to tell their honest opinion to. You considered asking Ilo. Okay, God. You considered asking Shiloh about it, but if he couldn't give his opinion on something like ice cream, then he wasn't going to open up about this. You hoped for the best. Maybe you were wrong, or if you were right, maybe he'd feel better about it soon. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with him. There had been good times, and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. God, what the fuck did she do now?
Oh no.
Lizzie! Bitch!
Oh! Look at the boy!
Baby! I mean, at least she looks sorry about it. Whatever the hell she said, at least.
Yeah.
You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you
Carefully asked about what happened, probably.
Yep. Carefully asked what happened. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. What are we, a detective? Apparently. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened?
Charlie, I got yelled at. Uh-oh.
Buddy!
Uh-oh.
He took a deep, steadying breath.
Oh, it's always like a grandparent.
Yep. Of course it does.
Some grandparents got mad at me.
Sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove shouldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids.
Yeah, Lizzie said.
Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction.
Uh-huh. I was helping.
That's cool. Is there anything I can do?
No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson.
Okay, mischievous. And a brat. There was a devilish glint in her eyes.
What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again. You're saying that because you're a cluck-cluck chicken.
Cove glared but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you.
You're not a chicken, are you?
Oof. I am someone who never backs down from a dare, but that has ended badly for me in the past. Very
I am the type
badly.
of person to back down from a dare if it'll put me in some form of danger or detriment.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small one.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a chicken. But at the same time, I also will say this. Whenever I do get wronged, I hold a lot of resentment. I am a petty person.
Yeah.
So my answer would probably be, you thought they deserved worse.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
You scrunched up your nose in disgust as you shook your head. As pranks go, it was pretty weak. They would answer the door to find nothing there. So what? It'd be sort of annoying, but they seemed like the kind of people that would be irritated by about anything. If they were going to open the door, there should be something bad there. And that would be letting them off too easily. You felt 3 pairs of eyes staring at you, but you were studying your surroundings thoughtfully. There wasn't much around them that they might dislike. Inspiration came crawling towards you in the form of a roly-poly bug. Carefully, you lowered your hands and let it clamber onto your palm. That should do it. You had never met an adult who appreciated bugs. Let's ding-dong dish them and bug them.
Yeah. We'll go hide. Run as soon as you hit the bell.
Good luck. Lizzie and Shiloh ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they settled down, you can make out 2 child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. You knew where to look for them, though, so you told yourself that the grouchy old people wouldn't spot it. Cove sighed, his gaze flicking to the house and then back to you.
Don't get caught.
I'll be quick as a flash. You went to join Lizzie and Shiloh in their hideaway. The weight of the 3 pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carried before as you approached the door. You stared down at the little bug still wriggling in your closed hand and carefully placed it on the ground where it could be seen, but off enough to the side so it wouldn't be stepped on.
Are we gonna back down from this, or are we going for it?
We're going for it.
Hell yeah.
You rung it. You slapped the buzzer and ran, blood thumped against your eardrums with every step. Would you make it in time? Approaching the hiding spot, you knew there wasn't any time to go around the bushes as the others had done. You took a shortcut, leaping over them. Or to be more accurate, crashing into the tops of the bushes and then falling over to the other side. Judging from the squeak, it was Shiloh who cushioned your fall.
Shh.
Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your limbs from Shiloh's and spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles.
Oh no.
Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping, but he locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shiloh gasped and looked at Lizzie.
I'm still streaming. Run.
Your sister did not hesitate to take her own advice. Neither did you and Shiloh. Cove, with just one fully operational arm, took a little longer to get to his feet, but still caught up to Shiloh with ease. As you made your escape, you thought to yourself you didn't even notice the bug. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street in the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache in your legs. You flopped down the blades of glass. Glass? Okay.
Glass?
Jesus. Oh yes, you
Man.
flopped down the blades of glass.
Gas?
I don't know what is going on with me. How many is that now? You've been keeping track.
So that was what, 2?
Yes.
Are you sure you want to hear?
Just do it.
87.
Oh god. Oh. Okay, we're gonna have so much by the end of this. Holy shit.
You're gonna have to separate the compilations of you messing up your words
Mm-hmm.
by episodes.
I could. You are a fucking genius.
I know.
Okay, Lizzie. Anyway. Jesus. You flopped down the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The 4 of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Hey, Cove.
Cove lifted his head.
I told you there were mean grandparents around here.
Cove rolled his eyes and decided that wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It was always like that.
Honestly, I wouldn't be too bothered by it.
Mm-mm.
Shiloh is more of Lizzie's friend than ours, so.
Yeah. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. You closed your eyes, laid on your side, and relaxed. Some time passed with you like that. It felt good to take a real break. That's what this other photo is from. I realize that. You moved on to your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. Then they lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes.
I think it would be really silly if we saw a dolphin. It all ties together.
You saw a dolphin leaping through the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Look, a dolphin! Cove joined you in gazing skywards.
Yeah, I see it.
Really?
No, but I like dolphins.
Okay. Hey. He chuckled at your reaction.
After this one is over, I am gonna skedaddle downstairs to grab some french fries.
Okay. All the sun's light faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs and surveying her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide.
Let's go to the beach.
There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You...
I mean, I'll never pass up a trip to the beach unless it's too cold.
Yeah. You wanted to go there too. So you eagerly joined the others in descending the hill and down to the water. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you. Too big to belong to any of you were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge, the waves tickling your feet.
I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean, with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish. I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be so serious about everything.
God damn.
You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It hurt the fishes.
I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun.
Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. Very interesting vocabulary for like an 11-year-old.
Yeah. You'd never heard Lizzie use that word before.
Mama loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time.
I don't think they will let you do that, but okay.
Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up, anyway?
Not for a while. She's busy.
What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck.
Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about?
You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by the waves, even if Shiloh never seemed upset when the topic came up. It made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Charlie. I don't have a dad, but I don't have two moms. I just have one. I just have one. She's really great.
Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back at home. It's just my dad with me.
Aw, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel so bad. So I don't feel bad. It's really great that your mom... Oh! It's really great that your mom was gone. What the fuck?
Huh.
Okay.
I ought to add 2 points just for that mess up.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Do that. Fucking hell.
Great. Guess what?
What?
We're at 90 now.
Oh, God. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Not fucking glad. Jesus Christ. Cove nodded.
No.
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 No. No.
You didn't say anything.
Yeah. You couldn't come up with something you thought would make the conversation any less awkward, so you kept quiet. It was safer that way. No shit. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin.
I would retaliate. If somebody's gonna splash me, I will splash them back.
Mm-hmm. You used your foot to smack the water pooling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she sputtered, some of the salty water having landed in her mouth. She spat it out.
Yuck.
Considering I've been to the beach a lot as a child, I can say for certain the salt water is fucking disgusting, That's also really bad to swallow it, because that will easily get you dehydrated.
Not only that, too, like, um, if you get salt water in your nose, it burns.
Oh.
It burns because of the salt.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it would. Jesus.
Low-key never felt worse pain.
Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Ah! Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, causing him to fall face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Yikes. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head, and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it.
That was crazy. Are you okay?
Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
Way to go, Shiloh. You Dumbo. Man.
Damn!
Offered him some help up.
Yeah, fucking hell. You offered him, yeah, okay. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. Of course he takes it. Mother. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself up from the ground. He then slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Karma. Sorry. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low. But there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose and then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her face, from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove from laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as the cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad.
We're back!
Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked.
Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you.
They certainly did. What's Marigold doing? Oh, wait. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him? What? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy? I'm sorry, what type of name is Marigold?
The old woman's name, I guess.
Apparently. Shiloh's not... What the God!
Okay, well, 92.
Jesus. Lizzie's expression turned sulkily over the...
Never mind, guess we're going to 94.
Jesus. Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair.
You've been out making memories, Bucko? I'm glad you had a good time with your friends.
Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too.
I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. That might be right. Kids, what can you do? Come on, Cove. Let's get you cleaned up and dried off. You wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset.
Cove winced at the thought.
Okay. Attaboy.
Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Lark family. And Shiloh, too.
Well, we'd better do what we can. We'd better do what we can to fix you guys up, too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom.
Yes, Mom.
Okay, Lizzie's mom.
Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight.
That is very true. Sitting on an old beach towel your mama had found, you waited in the hall. Until you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without the hat for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed cleanup session. At least that's what she claimed. Not much longer would be your turn, and when the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad that there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, grown up.
Yep.
Last one, chat. Last one.
One seltzer...
Alright, we're already starting off with another one.
Yep. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across a rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your mom's I'm not British. Your moms had left the two of you along with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mama, so your sister was starting to get impatient, waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her eyes spread right across her face. Jesus. And her smile spread right across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy.
Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play. Why? I said why, and it'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot?
What was that noise?
A snicker.
Excluding a small...
That did come from my mouth.
Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Cove. Of course.
Charlie, what do you think? Do you want to?
I feel like we wouldn't go against our sister.
We wouldn't. Especially since she's our older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And for fear of being beaten up.
I want to.
You do?
Why the fuck do you look surprised, Lizzie?
She wasn't expecting us to agree.
Hmm.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Hooray! Okay, let me think. What do I want to be?
Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you.
Okay, I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Charlie, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a what the heck? A tennis player. Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea. That's why.
God.
And we have to play sports as adults? Yep. But there's other kinds of sports too. It isn't the same. What do you think, Charlie? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh?
Yep. Lizzie, apparently not expecting you to agree after Cove's refusal, practically lit up.
Really? Which one are you gonna pick, Charlie?
Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. You thought over the list of possibilities: beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you'd prefer to play. If you couldn't spend the afternoon doing cartwheels and handstands in the backyard, then you might as well practice them inside. There wouldn't be as much space as there was outside, but you could still try. I feel like we're gonna break something.
I know, right? Like a vase.
Yep. Yes, that was clearly the top option. Okay, I'm gonna be a gymnast.
All right. How about you, Cove? I pick volleyball. You would, wouldn't you? I should have known.
Jesus.
Okay, so, Charlie, you're a famous gymnast. And Cove, you're on a popular beach volleyball team. And
Lizzie's ponytail bobbed as she proudly stretched her arms wide.
we're Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics.
Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose.
That's really specific. That's what makes it fun. Anyway.
Good God. Lizzie marched back and forth in front of the both of you, getting lost in her own imagination. Oh God.
Oh gosh. I won all gold medals, and people are calling me the next Mickey Wright.
I'm gonna act like I know who the fuck that is.
Same.
Thank you, Cove.
Who's that?
Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned to him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. Ma'am?
It doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing.
Jesus.
You guys won medals too. Cove, your team was bronze. And Charlie, you barely missed out on gold and got silver. It's more real if we're not all first place.
Uh-huh.
I'd probably stay silent, honestly.
Uh-huh. You stayed silent and looked at your hands. Next to you, Cove leaned towards Lizzie with a frown.
Lots of people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me.
Oh God.
Here we go.
Yep. Lizzie looked taken aback by Clove's... Good God. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. Brat fucking behavior.
Real. No way! It wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game.
She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball.
So, what kind of house do you want to live in?
Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading.
Old. I'm going to live on the beach.
Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I was taking some water.
You're good.
That's kind of boring. We already have that. No, not like the normal houses here on a street. On it. Right on the sand, by the water.
Just like that, all the tension was back. You haven't even had a chance to choose where you would want to live.
That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sand and shells. But I want to, and I will.
Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him.
You didn't get out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we even playing pretend if we can't imagine anything?
Jesus.
Jeez. Well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here, and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing.
Jesus.
You were yelling about mine when your idea is even more impossible. Fuck! Tweak out!
Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides.
Uh-oh.
Oh God.
It is not impossible, and it's better than yours.
Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together. You always felt like you were stuck in the middle. Because we are.
Because we are.
Mm-hmm. But when it came to the topic at hand this time, you thought...
I was tired of deciding.
Yep. You didn't engage in their bickering and instead dreamt up your own dream house. And you weren't going to share your idea with them either. You already knew it was a good one.
You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you.
The two of them scowled at each other. Oh.
Uh-oh. You're being so unreasonable. You... I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense. It does! You have to be realistic. I said that. But you're not.
You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you'd said so far had kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed over to her, hanging onto the hem of her shirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Charlie, it's time to get ready to go. Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. Their mama said she'll walk you home so you won't be left out in the okay. Forgot how to back out there for a sec. Their mama said she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger.
I can go by myself.
But without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay. Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you?
Oh.
Oh, no.
So we can either tell on Lizzie
Uh-huh.
and get her ass in trouble because she needs to be humbled,
Mm-hmm.
or we can lie, save Lizzie's skin, and possibly not get beaten to death by her later on.
We were playing pretend and things got intense. They were like cats and dogs. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown.
I know, I tried, but he was...
You didn't try jack shit, man.
I was just thinking that.
I don't know what type of accent that was. No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her.
Okay, Mom.
Good girl. You got pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. Ah, right, we better gonna move on. Let's go, kids. How?
So it's either Nolani or Nailani. So...
Nalani, where did you leave the car keys? We're probably gonna switch in between the two during this series, but that is fine. Mom hustled you all out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mama asked you what you'd like to listen to.
I feel like I would choose the bottom one.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of say sorry.
Yeah.
For tattling. But, like, at the same time, she... Bitch!
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Ooh.
I don't know, I'd probably still go with the bottom one.
Mm-hmm. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Maybe that would cheer her up. You were happy to see it brightened her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf. Golf? Okay. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell she really liked it. So you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and your skin stretched... Your skin stretched out your legs. Okay. Good God. Fuck. You stretched out your legs to let the last minutes of sun warm your skin. Good God. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant that you had all been going to ever since you could remember. We go to this restaurant a lot in this goddamn game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Because I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, this is the exact same restaurant that we meet Cove's mother at.
Oh.
I still cannot remember her name for the life of me.
Okay.
The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of kind of tell that this all helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom turned onto your street and reversing into the driveway. When she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips. Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day is done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good. Let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mama put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told them, Lizzie. You hadn't liked doing it, but had to. Being a tattletale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet.
You remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey?
Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and she began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned it on speaker. The phone rang a couple of times, then stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came to the other end.
Evening, Holden. Evening, Holden residence. Fuck. Man.
Lizzie looked over at Mama, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. God.
Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove? Lizzie Lark? What a surprise. But of course you can say hey to the boy.
He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it Though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard and you were sure your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Nalani, Charlie, and I are here too.
Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. I think we'd say hi just to be nice.
Yeah. You spoke up to say hello too. Hi, Mr. Holden.
The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter?
His voice grew a bit concerned. Mama was quick to reassure him.
No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove? A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight.
He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny.
Anyway, it's good. You didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you.
There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out.
Cove, there's someone on the phone for you.
After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad.
Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you.
It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hello? Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know. Dad told me.
Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again.
Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too, because he sighed quietly.
I want gold.
Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. You couldn't understand why that mattered so much to him.
All right, you win the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too.
A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms. I about said eyebrows. Good God. Ah yes, Mom uncrossed her eyebrows.
Man, that's such a normal thing for people to do. Uncross their eyebrows? Man, I do that all the time.
Mom uncrossed her arms while Mama's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology.
Dad, can I get off the phone now?
You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holden spoke up.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it.
As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mama's hand to catch her attention.
Sorry if you hear any background noise.
I could hear that very loudly.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Can I go now, too? Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove.
Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mama returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mama weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with the spring in your step. Okay.
Because I think that would be silly. I'll never get tired of that view.
You stood beside your moms and Lizzie as the four of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians in the shopping district now.
Neither did I.
Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more.
Oh, were they on a little date?
With their children.
Oh. He didn't do real magic, Mom.
How did you figure that one out?
Because I know. That's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie, dear. There's all kinds of magic in the world.
Lizzie gave Mama a suspicious look, but didn't dispute. What? Words. But didn't dispute the claim. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan.
Mom, summer's almost over.
The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. You put on your best puppy dog eyes. Oh, don't look at me like that. Like what?
Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now.
Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. Well...
Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner.
Mama leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory. All right. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside, understood?
Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom.
So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Tines and Trinkets. Ooh, or maybe the playground. Or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right? Honestly, I'd silently make my own plans simply because Lizzie does not take into account our feelings.
Yep. Lizzie had her own ideas of what she wanted to do. But what were you going to do? A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet?
That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mother's gone. Where are you going?
I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow.
You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long, she was disappearing off down the road.
I say we stay outside for a little bit more.
Yeah.
Peace and quiet.
You watched Lizzie run off, twisting your lips as you considered what to do. In the end, the pretty sky and the soothing sound of the waves won out. You strayed off the path, grinning at the feel of the sand, quickly filling in the empty space in your flip-flops. That was fun for a while, but you grew bored eventually. How else could you enjoy the remainder of your time at the beach?
I'd look for I'd look for seashells.
You looked for seashells. God!
Seashells.
Seashells. Jesus.
Hey, guess what? 101.
Oh, God. Yeah, that sounds about right. You walked to the shoreline, peering at any debris that had washed up. Most of it was just seaweed, rocks, and trash, though now and then you'd spot a seashell. Good God.
103.
You picked up the ones that stood out to you until you had a nice little collection. It was a great evening, but soon enough you had your fill and were ready to join the rest of your family back home. Not too much farther down shore, you spotted a familiar green head of hair moseying along the shore.
Let's go see what Cove's up to.
You went to go see what Cove was up to. Curious, you strayed off your path and walked over to him. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reared his arm back and then tossed it out into the water. You were impressed over how far he got it to go. It sailed way out into the sea.
What are you doing?
Cove jumped a little and you let out a small giggle. Sorry.
What are you doing out here?
I asked first. Cove frowned, turning back to the waves.
I'm not doing anything. Just thinking.
Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface, even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows furrowed and there was a frown on his face.
It's not fair. I've had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. When do you get it off?
Cove shrugged and didn't say anything. For a second you thought maybe he didn't know, but finally he sighed.
A few weeks. That's not that bad.
That's not very long at all. It'll be off before you know it. You offered a smile, but Cove wasn't looking at you. Cove let out a huff, plopping down into the sand.
Can't believe summer's almost over.
You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change.
I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that.
So why don't you want to go? It's nice as far as schools go. You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been much better. Then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It could be kind of scary. Cove shook his head and wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. He heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
Baby. Child. You weren't sure what to do. It felt weird just leaving him here crying, but what could you say that would help? You found a little, starting to sand.
Damn.
God damn, Charlie. Okay.
Don't know what to do, so you're just leaving? Me, of course.
Yep. Okay, well, bye then. Cove gave his head a small shake.
No, I want to go back home.
Right. Cove wanted to go back to his old home. The one that sat waiting someplace far away. The one he would bring up whenever he felt was sad. It'd been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He settled back down into the sand, trying to consider what to do.
It'll be alright.
Sometimes you were sad about something. Sometimes when you were sad about something, your mom said that to you. In the moment, you thought it couldn't possibly be alright, because Sir Stuff-a-Lot lost his arm, or you skinned your knee, or you couldn't possibly finish all your vegetables. Okay. But in the end, they were always right.
You're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around?
The question was a little surprising.
I feel like to keep the thoughts of joyous and childish whimsy, just of course.
Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? After a second, Cove gave a little nod.
Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming.
You were fine with him changing the subject again. Yeah, that would be fun. Cove smiled and looked back at the Cove smiled and looked back to the waves.
My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually, that I'd feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything.
You spared a glance over at Cove and saw the anger had slipped off his face in favor of something almost puzzled.
But maybe that would be okay after all. As long as I really do feel better.
We're almost at the 4-hour mark.
Oh, good lord. I can't see it.
The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint, familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Had you guys really been sitting out here that long? You stood up and dusted the sand off yourself. My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked at you, expressing screaming reluctance, yet ultimately.
Okay.
When you smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. But the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So both of you ran off towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind.
Aww.
August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. It felt like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Originally, he treated you like everyone else, passing by as if you didn't know each other, but as the years went on, the two of you acknowledged each other more and more. A friendship had started to grow. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. When you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad, he would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too, for different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. You weren't sure how well it worked in changing Cove's thoughts on the town, yet it might have been a part of the reason you and Cove ended up growing closer. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. Still, you worried about him. You could tell he wasn't completely happy. Maybe one day he would say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. You passed and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. But underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did in gym and other athletics situations. Over the years, he began opening up more too. You saw him talking amicably with other students. You saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. Is it bad to say that I'm a little bit glad about that?
Probably, but at the same time, Shiloh
Was a little bit of a pushover. A yes man, if you will.
Crazy. Truthful, but crazy.
Yeah. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks, but nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. Damn, okay. You've forgotten that fucking easily. Jesus. You learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her mama as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Thank God. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname, too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the whole neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. Okay, so she was 10. I was wondering about that. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work if Derek had time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again.
Whoa! This is a switch.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty, though.
Yes. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. I'm gonna tell you right now, this window is gonna become very important later on.
Oh?
That is all I'm saying.
Oh? Okay.
To be more specific, you were...
Honestly, with how busy my summer is gonna be this year, low-key, I'd rather be snuggled up in bed.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much that I have this summer, and I'm not mad about it at all.
It was hot, but you still had the blanket up over your head to block out the sun. You didn't want it intruding on your lazy morning. Unfortunately, you hadn't prepared for an intrusion. From beneath the blanket, you heard the door creak open. Hello.
Damn!
Jeez.
This is a change.
Mm-hmm.
She looks older than 15.
Yeah.
And her hair is straighter.
That's weird.
Maybe it was always straight.
It probably
Maybe
was.
she's just taking a straightener to it. Who knows? You're still sleeping? Wow. Get up.
Damn.
I would be like, go away.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get the fuck out of my room, woman. By the impatient tapping of her foot, you could tell she hadn't left.
Get up now, or I will come over there.
So much for a lazy morning.
Mom told me to tell you that your friend's at the door. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever. So come down already. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. Elizabeth said nothing else and left, having done what was instructed of her. You rolled out of bed, stretching your arms up high and yawning. Time to get ready. You sat yourself in front of the mirror in the far corner of your room.
Let's do a combination of our heights. How tall are you?
I am 4'11".
I'm 5'3", so we're short.
Alright.
There was a lot of open real estate.
In the frame, you're pretty short, of course. You could relate to Derek and how it felt to be smaller than people thought you ought to be. Your shortness seemed even more drastic when compared to Cove, who was unusually tall. Jesus.
You weren't sure how to feel about it.
Things kept changing. With the height you actually had... Wait, what? With the height you actually had and what the impression of that height was based on your age, it was confusing. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued. I got a notification. Elizabeth's words piqued up your curiosity. You planned on going over there to see what Cove was up to, so this worked in your favor. Your reflection grinned back at you. You were looking forward to seeing him. You left your room, taking an easy time down the stairs. Step 2, second chance.